before the gods, before the mountains and the seas. There was only chaos, a swirling, formless void from which all of reality would be born. From this primordial emptiness, the first beings emerged: Gaia, the earth; Eros, love; Erebus, darkness; and Nyx, the night. And then there was another, a place, a being, a concept born from the deepest shadows of chaos. It was called Tartarus. Unlike the earth, which spread wide and welcoming, Tartarus was a chasm, an endless, bottomless pit that plunged into unimaginable depths, a void so profound that it existed as the cosmic counterbalance to the heavens. The ancient poets tried to measure its scale, to give a mortal mind some grasp of its immensity. They said if a bronze anvil were dropped from the heavens, it would fall for 9 days and 9 nights to reach the earth. And if that same anvil were then dropped from the earth, it would fall for another 9 days and 9 nights before it finally reached the floor of Tartarus. This wasn't just a physical distance. It was a separation of realities, a descent through layers of existence from the shining peaks of Mount Olympus down through the world of mortals, past the gloomy realm of the underworld ruled by Hades, and deeper still into a darkness that even the gods of the dead feared. In the beginning, Tartarus was not a prison. It was simply a fundamental part of the cosmos, a place of profound and terrifying emptiness. Its first inhabitants were not criminals, but beings of immense and chaotic power. When Gaia, the earth, gave birth to the first generation of gods, the monstrous Hecatonchires, giants with 50 heads and 100 hands, and the one-eyed Cyclopes, their own father, Uranus, the sky, was horrified by their appearance. Fearing their strength and their monstrous forms, Uranus seized his children and hurled them into the depths of Tartarus. Here, in the crushing darkness, he thought they would be forgotten, their power contained forever. This was the first great act of imprisonment, the moment Tartarus began its transformation from a simple abyss into the ultimate cosmic jail. Gaia, heartbroken and enraged by the loss of her children, plotted her revenge. This act would set in motion a war that would shake the very foundations of the universe. The age of the Titans began in blood and betrayal. At Gaia's urging, the Titan Cronus overthrew his father Uranus, but he did not free his monstrous brothers from Tartarus. Instead, he embraced his father's paranoia, fearing a prophecy that he too would be overthrown by his own children. Cronos devoured each of them as they were born: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon. Only Zeus was saved by the cunning of his mother, Rhea. Raised in secret, Zeus grew into a powerful god. When he was ready, he returned to challenge his father. The war that followed, the Titan Amachi, was a conflict of cataclysmic scale. For 10 years, the old gods and the new clashed, their battles tearing across the cosmos. The earth groaned, the seas boiled, and the heavens trembled. The war was at a stalemate until Zeus, guided by Gaia, made a fateful decision. He descended to the edge of Tartarus and freed the Hecatonchires and the Cyclopes. In gratitude, the Cyclopes forged for him his legendary weapons, the thunderbolts. Armed with this new power, and allied with the 100-handed giants, the tide of the war turned. One by one, the Titans fell. Their reign was over, and as their father had done to their brothers, Zeus now did to them. He cast Cronus and the other defeated Titans into the eternal gloom of Tartarus. But this time, it was different. Tartarus was no longer just a holding place. It was now a fortress, a purpose-built prison for the enemies of the new divine order. Massive gates of bronze were erected at its entrance, crafted by Poseidon himself. And guarding those gates, ensuring no one could ever escape, were the Hecatonchires, the very beings who had once been its prisoners. Their loyalty was now to Zeus, their immense power now serving as the ultimate deterrent. The Titans, once rulers of the universe, were bound in unbreakable chains in the misty gloom, their divine power nullified, their immortality now an endless curse of imprisonment. They were condemned to an eternity of darkness, a testament to the absolute authority of the Olympian gods. But Tartarus was not reserved solely for the gods who lost celestial wars. It became the destination for those mortals whose crimes were so heinous, so offensive to the cosmic order, that mere death was not enough. Their punishments were eternal. tailor-made to reflect their transgressions, serving as horrifying warnings for all of eternity. Consider Tantalus, a king, a son of Zeus, who was once favored by the gods. He was invited to dine on Olympus, a privilege granted too few mortals. But in his arrogance, he stole the food of the gods, nectar and ambrosia, to share with his mortal friends. His ultimate crime, however, was a test of the gods' omniscience. He murdered his own son Pelops and served him as a meal to the Olympians. The gods, of course, were not fooled. They were horrified. They restored Pelops to life and condemned Tantalus to the depths of Tartarus. There he stands for all time in a pool of cool, clear water just beneath his chin. Above him, branches heavy with ripe, luscious fruit hang just out of reach. But whenever he bends to quench his burning thirst, the water recedes. And whenever he reaches up to pluck a piece of fruit, the wind blows the branches away. He is trapped in an eternity of tantalizing torment, forever seeing what he needs, but never able to obtain it. Then there is Sisyphus, the clever and deceitful king of Corinth, who cheated death, not once, but twice. He tricked Thanatos, death himself, and chained him up, causing a period where no mortal could die. Later, after being dragged to the underworld, he convinced Persephone to let him return to the mortal world, promising he would come back. He broke his word. For his defiance of the natural order, his punishment was an exercise in utter futility. Sisyphus is condemned to push a massive boulder up a steep hill. With immense efforts, straining every muscle, he nears the summit. But just as he is about to reach the top, the boulder slips from his grasp and rolls all the way back down. He must descend and begin his task anew, forever. His eternity is not one of physical pain, but of hopeless, repetitive labor. A constant struggle that will never, ever be complete. His mind, fully aware of his fate, is the true source of his torture. These punishments were not acts of petty revenge by emotional gods. Tartarus, in its essence, is a law of nature. It is the universe's immune response to those who seek to disrupt its fundamental principles. The river Styx, whose waters flowed down into the abyss, was the most sacred body of water in the cosmos. Even the gods swore their most solemn and unbreakable oaths upon it. To break such an oath was to invite a punishment that even an immortal would fear, a comatose state followed by exile. Tartarus was the ultimate enforcer of these cosmic laws, an impersonal, unfeeling mechanism of absolute justice. Perhaps the most terrifying inhabitant ever to be imprisoned within Tartarus was not a god or a mortal, but a monster that predated them all. Typhon, born of Gaia and Tartarus itself. He was the father of all monsters, a creature of such immense size and power that his head brushed the stars, and his arms, when outstretched, could span the east and west. He had 100 dragon heads that screamed with a cacophony of terrifying sounds. When Typhon rose to challenge the heavens, even the mighty Olympians fled in terror. Only Zeus stood his ground. The battle that ensued was apocalyptic. Zeus hurled his thunderbolts, and Typhon fought back, with gales of fire and rock. The earth and sky were scorched. In the end, Zeus was victorious. He struck Typhon with a final, overwhelming volley of lightning and buried the monster beneath the weight of a mountain, Mount Etna, in Sicily. Typhon was not killed. He was imprisoned within the earth, with Tartarus as his cage. To this day, the ancient Greeks believed his furious struggles are what cause earthquakes. His fiery breath is the lava and smoke that spew from the volcano's peak. He is a constant, simmering threat, a reminder of the chaotic power that lies just beneath the surface of the world, contained only by the unyielding grip of Tartarus. Tartarus is more than a place. It is a concept. It is the ultimate consequence. It is the darkness that gives light its meaning, the prison that defines freedom. It is the foundation upon which the order of the cosmos rests, a silent, ever-present warning that no being, no matter how powerful, is above the law of existence. As we imagine descending past the chained titans, past the tormented souls of mortals, past the buried form of Typhon, the abyss continues. The darkness becomes absolute, the pressure unimaginable. Sound ceases to exist. Light is a forgotten memory. We are sinking into the primordial void from which Tartarus was born, a place of pure, unadulterated nothingness, the final, silent end. at the bottom of everything. It is here that the journey ends, in a silence so profound it echoes with the weight of eternity, the great and terrible prison of the gods.